Good afternoon and welcome to Media Center in Čaglavica. Today we'll have a debate about what 15 of March brings to the drivers and foreigners in Kosovo, and we're going to talk about implementation of this law that will be in power in 15 of March, that will have a great influence in the day-to-day life of the citizens, respecting of human rights and everything. Today, panelist is Gordana Đorić, which comes from the organization of Poslovnih žena from Čaglavica. We have a representative in the assembly, Lazar Radulović, who is the MP from the party Sloboda i Pravda, Mr. Simić from NGO Center for Affirmative Društvene akcije. So let me tell you that we have invited on this person from Kosovo, Mr. Čeljaj, and representative of the institution, of that institution, but we have no official response from that office. We had a debate like 2 weeks ago. We have also invited Ombudsman and Mr. Svečlja, or whoever comes from the Ministry of Interior, but we have no response from the Ministry of Interior. That we have tried many times for that people that can give us an answer which are connected with today's topic. We're not successful in that, but does not stop us to talk about with today's panelists, to see the perspectives and to see the angle of the politicians from Belgrade and Pristina, also from the representatives of the Serbian civil society that are together with us today. We are going to start with the introduction from the panelists, and after that we will open discussion and to give space for the questions. We're going to start with Boban Simić. You are, a month ago, I mean to tell you that a couple of representatives of NGOs, Serbian NGOs, that you had also represented for your NGO, you had a meeting with diplomatic missions in Kosovo after this announcement from the Serbian government to start with the law about the foreigners and vehicles, and also civil sector as engagement of the international community and consultation with Serbs about this regulation. So, was it anything done in the past month? So is this use of this law was adequate, and what are the consequences on the day-to-day life of the Serbian community before all here in Kosovo? Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, the civil sector has the role, this correctional role, so when they have to react when civil sector when somebody else was not. So let me tell you, like a month ago, just because of that reason, and the NGOs from the north asked from the international community one meeting that we wanted and we wish to point out the problems of the full implementation about this law, about the foreigners and vehicles. And on that occasion, probably at that moment, the public sector has no possibilities because they were overwhelmed with the results of the elections and they did not pay attention much on how this law will reflect in the citizens' rights, especially, I think, of the members of the Serbian community. What we pointed out on that meeting was, before all, that with the full implementations of these two laws, they will jeopardize certain categories of the citizens. These categories of the citizens are, before all, this is the citizens with the unresolved civil status in Kosovo that submitted application in the meantime and they want to complete their documentation, but to confirm their civil status and that will be treated at the border crossing as foreigners. The second wider group that will be that will be directly under influence with this full implementation of law. These are all workers, doctors, students that was doing their job without any disturbance with all of these years, that in the law we have not clearly defined modality how this category of the citizens will submit applications or to ask for or to request to stay in Kosovo. Also in that meeting we didn't point out, because in the meantime we have the bilateral meetings with the diplomatic corps in Kosovo, and we point out in one new category of the citizens, and this is temporarily misplaced persons in Serbia. So we have now situations that temporarily misplaced persons had a civil status in Serbia, they have changed their address, but in the meantime they did not get the Serbian documentation, the Kosovo documentation. So in the meantime, if this law will be implemented, they will be treated as foreigners at the border crossing. So out of that reason, the rest of the citizens that do not have documentations will be treated in the same way. So that group of the people, of the citizens, were asked to be put on the side in a certain time until the full implementations of this law. So what was done in the meantime? We have done legal analysis with the NGO and with our cooperation with the other organizations, and that is in banning of formality and protections of the legal expectations with the full implementations of this law. What this means? Let me clarify this. What do we do with the formality? So there's an open question. Is it this practice that was done in many years with the Kosovo government, with entering and going out of the country with the citizens, with the Serbian citizens in Kosovo and other minorities, can have legal consequences in the situations that these persons were doing their job without any interruptions within any institutions in Kosovo. So simply, the documents that they were using to enter Kosovo were recognized as valid documents. So, if European standards and the European Court for Human Rights has the possibilities to read these laws formally, and that law should be implemented in such a way that this is not discriminatory laws. It is not discriminatory, but there is a certain legal consequences that have direct influence on the group or on the citizens that I have already mentioned. So based on the analysis that we have done on the technical level, especially the representatives of the international community and relevant institutions, the practice of the European Court for Human Rights and analysis of the legal systems that was facing with the institutional dispute, they can take out one general conclusion that the government cannot negate persons, staying of the persons on the territory where they live for many years, and especially in situations that this stay was also tolerated by the government and it was in fact accepted. So I would like to point out one view of the law in that transparent process that we are the witnesses that what I mean, I want to say, what are the results of that meeting? So do we have any movement regarding the topic? So the representatives of the European Union visited Pristina and Belgrade, but we are witness that that process is really not transparent, and we do not have a feedback. Do we have any movement regarding in this conversation between European Union and representatives of the Pristina or Kosovo government? This ambiguity, creative ambiguity in that agreement led us into the situation that in one double analysis that we are doing, so we can treat these in one way or another. So I think the key is for us to recognize which group of the citizens and category of citizens will be under the influence of this law. So our job is to call international unity, to tell them about all the problems and to represent the problems of the Serbian community and also other minorities to influence the ones who are bringing the decision, especially the Kosovo government. So this category of the citizens temporarily to be put on the side of this negative influence of the full implementation of these two laws. Thank you. Good. We have heard which categories will be under the great influence when there is a full implementation of this law. Now we're going to hear Žarko Ristić, who is the MP in the Assembly of Serbia. You, as an independent MP, how do you expect this implementation of the foreigners and vehicles in Kosovo? How do you judge this reaction or from Belgrade, these regulations so somehow have a direct influence of the Serbs and citizens in Kosovo? Maybe you are planning to have some initiative, some MP questions in the assembly in Serbia. So if you do, what will be your concrete request for government of Serbia? Good afternoon. First, I would like to thank Budimir for the invitation in this debate, also to the viewers and spectators of this panel. So when we are talking about the implementation of this law that will start on 15th of March, the problem is a little bit different. 2013, he was in power, and later on in 2003, through the amendments, it was confirmed. So in that period, we had a chance to participate, but somehow we stay speechless and we did not talk about the problem. So the government in Serbia, also the Serbs who have participated in the Kosovo government. So what that means, we had the opportunity not to come at the end. So this is like the pupils of the students that did not learn nothing throughout the year, but at the end they came in the same problems. So we have come in the situations to call UN that any amendment or any initiative to point out that the Serbian people and Serbian community in Kosovo are constitutional. So they have not talked about it in the Kosovo Assembly. Now we have come in that situation, so now we have to find a way to solve this. So we have a big critiques for the both sides, but nobody will hear us in Kosovo institutions, so you know which address to go to. he don't want to hear about this, so I'm a little bit skittish that at the end for the Serbian people, for the Serbs, it will be really important that if Kosovo and Kosovo Albanians, if they do not have Serbian community, they cannot survive. So that is one side of it, and the second side of it is if they not take us like all together and to respect all the laws, they will not going to exist as a legal country. This is Europe, and all the great powers see that, and that will come back to them. So when you asked about the assembly procedures, why we have no reaction from Belgrade? So now you see what happened now. In essence, Serbian community in Kosovo and Metohija this is a final act for them. So when we talked about the boiling the frog, they one by one, they gave us one by one segment of the conversation, but you know which address to go to when we're talking about this conversation in between. This is only one point. So they were kept that hidden from the community, from the Serbian community, and they gave us like some phony comfort, and now we see that the end comes. And I think that this law that will be implemented it is directly towards the next thing for the integrations of the university and health system in Kosovo. This is connected one to another because Boban already said that one category of people that will be under direct influence, that is people who works in the healthcare, in education, and if they do not possess Kosovo documents, they will come in the situations that if you want to work in Kosovo as foreigner, you have to work in something that is licensed, that has the license from the Kosovo system. In essence, people who live in Kosovo and Metohija, who were here every day, in general, they're not going to have many problems about the movement because they already accept all the conditions of this way of governing Kosovo. So I'm talking about the people who has no documents. Yes, this is the politics that for the people who are coming from Serbia to work here, they work only for their own interest. There was no joint interest for the Serbian community in Kosovo and Metohija. They had what colloquially says too money. They only cared about money, so they were not deal with the problems in Kosovo. The biggest problem was leaving the institutions in the north of Kosovo, leaving the police, leaving the municipalities, and that was the defense that, whether was that intentionally, I think it was intentionally. We are now talking about the principle of the boiled frog. We have come into a situation that we have to ask the way out from it, and the only way out from it is that people that is still here somehow to find a way, the right path to call international community and simply to hear that voice or to postpone or to find a solution. So we're going to go back to it. Now we're going to hear Mr. Lazar Radulovic, who is the MP in the Kosovo Assembly. How do you see these new regulations that will come in power in the 15th of March in the Serbian community, that we have no representatives from the Serbian government that will explain these new regulations? I think they had informational campaign in the Serbian media, but I did not see that. anywhere. So how do you explain this institutional vacuum? Do you think that Pristina was failed in communication with the part of their own citizens? Before all, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the invitation. I would like to greet all the panelists, today's panelists, and all the journalists, all the guests here in Media Center. What would I like to say that probably we're going to repeat ourselves, that was already mentioned by the Bob and Ristich and the other colleague. So what is the essence of it? That's simply one thing that is really visible in all of this is, how will I put this, that 2013 and then 2018, we knew who were the representatives in the assembly and who were the MPs. But we have something strange happening here, and it is really visible. That is, Belgrade and international community is still silent. And Pristina, yes, of course. And what happens in the Brussels agreement? Nobody explained us. Nobody showed to talk about it. We have a director of the Kosovo office, Mr. Petkovic. This is one simple example that we have no representatives from the Serbs from Kosovo in that office. You have a representatives from Belgrade, from Zaječar, who probably understand problems better than the Serbs who lives here. So this silent probably show us that there is a silent agreement, because in this way they're going to put in the hands of the Serbs that hot potato. So maybe they have already agreed about everything and just to bring us to the final act. So why Pristina does not do that when you said this is probably already agreed? So if this is some sort of the agreement is to stay quiet or to stay silent. So what can I say? That the Minister Rasic had the meeting with the Office of European Union and international community. He wanted to be included in that, but they already said that they have a team working on it to change something, and they will inform the minister when they have some movement or the solutions. I hope we have 15 days now, and we have expectations that it will come to some certain changes, or so for the people here will be easier to overcome this. Who will be under biggest influence with this law about the vehicles and foreigners? Of course, the big influence will be upon the people here from Kosovo that works here, the doctors or the professors who are coming here to work and who lives in Serbia. But we have a problem also that we were stubborn, and we were waiting for 25 years and the people did not get the Kosovo documents. We do know that it was not a problem back in the day. So if you have one more ID in your wallet, that ID will not ask to eat. So what about the problems with the people who works in the health sector, the doctors, the professors were not going to be able to teach the kids? Yes, of course, this is justified. And I do believe that we will reach the solution. What will be the solutions? The solutions will be that it will be easier for them to get a work permit or the permits to stay and work here in Kosovo. I think this will be a solution. Now we're going to hear Gordana Đorić. Ms. Đorić, what do you think about the new measures? What will be the direct influence for the people who lives in the Serbian community? And what do you think this lack of the informational campaign for the people to get along with these new measures? So now we have a campaign in such a way that other crossings they are giving the papers or the leaflets with instructions. So how do you comment this fact that the citizens so far are left practically in something that they do not understand when we're talking about implementation of the new regulations? So thank you for the invitations. We are all facing the problems of this new law. Of course, it will be really hard for many citizens, so I will be really brief to give us my view, and which I wrote on the paper. 15th of March will be a key date for the Serbian citizen in the Serbian areas because the new law will be implemented. These changes had direct consequences on the day-to-day life of our co-citizens. I would like to be clear that the new law will bring Serbian community in one special situations which means the people who do not have documents have to report that they are going to work here, especially also with the vehicles with the Serbian plate numbers they can face with the limitation of movement and registrations of the vehicle. For many families, this means it's a new administrative burden, which means going to the school, getting the health care, or also public services. I would like to point out the problems that the citizens will be facing in the north areas. Many are using the vehicles with the Serbian plate numbers for day-to-day use, and this new law can bring complications during the registration of the vehicle, and also they will be under the risk of the fees. People who do not possess Kosovo documents it will be really hard for them to get the health care, to get the educations, and this is additional stress and insecurity. Not knowing the new regulations can lead to conflicts with the bodies, lawmaking bodies, and out of the political context. The current informational campaign that is with the sharing the papers and the leaflets with the informations, that is not enough. People are on their own, and which can cause the confusion and unnecessary sanctions. That's why we need right away to extend this period for the citizens to get know better about this, to have the campaigns on the language of the communities, to talk about it in the health institution, in schools, to open contact centers to answer the questions of the residents, to have the hotlines for that. Also, the cooperation between local communities and the central government, so this process to be easier with the unnecessary stress out of sanctions, for the sanctions. Through this kind of measures, we can ensure that the law will be functional and the citizens can continue with their normal life and work. The 15th of March is not the formal date. It is a moment that the changes will become the part of the day-to-day life. The institutions have the responsibility to follow these changes, to give the clear informations, to give help, practical solutions, so the citizen can function normally without any additional burden. So only in such a way we can make it possible this law to be justified, to be clear, that the people will continue with their day-to-day life, to work, to educate their own children without stress and insecurity. These political questions, absolutely, that the other panelists were already said, of course, I totally agree with many of the panelists. So we are here as a representatives of the NGO to always be included, to intervene when our rights are violated, and when we cannot continue with the life which are normal for the citizen. And after everything what we suffer, let's go back a bit. We have no dinars, the institutions are closed, banks, post office. So to create some conditions that we can function normally. And now this is the end of all of this that maybe somewhere was already agreed. That I can say that when what they were doing over there, not we are feeling this. Okay, thank you, Gordana. I have more questions, but of course, let's give a chance to our colleagues for questions, for discussions. Zorica, please. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to ask Žarko Ristić, because he's coming from the center Serbia. You talked about the informational campaign, which is at the border crossing. You have come from the center Serbia, I presume, with the Serbian documents, with the Serbian plate numbers on your own vehicle. So I'm interested, have you received any paper at the crossing? Did you receive it? And the second question is also for you. The students from North Mitrovica asked from the MPs of the assembly in Serbia to start with a discussion about the future on university. Daniela Nestorovic said that she will ask for it. Were you going to support this kind of initiative when this possibly can happen? So for you, Mr. Radulovic, if I understood right, you said that Rasic wanted to be included in the conversation, but he was not allowed to, and now he's expecting that he will be informed later on. Is this a normal situation? You have only one representative from the Serbs in the Kosovo Assembly. Kosovo government has the expert group, and Serbian community was not included. So what you're doing over there? This is not the only question. I do think that you will have many questions about it. But what you are doing over there? You were a part of that government, you and Mr. Rasic, when they were canceled dinars, when they were canceling institutions. We have not heard anything from you. Mr. Radulovic, yes, please. We're going to ask the Srpska Lista what they are doing, but for the past 6-7 years, they are not coming here. You have probably heard me wrong. I said Mr. Rasic had the meeting with the Office of European Union, and he asked from the European Union to be included, and they not allowed him that team to be formed. And of course, they're going to do about it, and he will be informed. So you're going to include something for the Serbian community. You have the European office. Ask them. We did not ask. The man wanted to be included. Anyone knows who are the members of the team? How will I say it? What they're thinking? Do you want me to tell you what they're thinking? I really don't know. I would like to ask you what you are doing to make the life easier for Serbian community. Are you aware what will happen with the university and with the people? You have to call representatives from Srpska Lista and the MPs who were there. Don't ask us when we come to the final act. When everything is over, ask them. I really do not see that you ask them. So for the past 5 years, you are the part of it. No. Is it normally that we do not know who are the members of this group or of this expert group? I really do not know. Anyone knows? Mr. Simic? I would like to know who is deciding about my life in Kosovo. Who are these experts? I would like to know about these questions. And I would like to ask questions that are concretely connected in my life. How will I be? How will I? What will be my? How will I go to educate myself, my kids, my neighbors, healthcare, everything? I'm really interested in what you're doing over there to tell us the names of that expert group. This is not the nuclear program, of course. I'm not going to protect my colleagues, but because we have a different political stance in Kosovo for many years. I have came back to Kosovo last night through, I don't know what is this administrative line, a border crossing, or joint point of crossing. When I came, I saw that is the border crossing, because I have to present a certain documents that I can enter the country. No one asked me anything. So I want to be educated, and I want to know, does the people who work at the crossings, do they know what they're working? I have get an answer from one police officer in the booth who received my documents. I asked him a simple thing: can I drive a vehicle with the Kosovo documents, but the vehicle with the Kosovo plate numbers? He said no. Any countries has to have their own documents and their own plate numbers. So I asked them, there is a certain laws about the traffic. So when you are using the laws of America, of Russia, or the big military powers, so is the law who is implemented here, is there a vehicle for someone who comes from the rent-a-car, can it be driven with the Kosovo documents? The police officers did not know the answer, but he was not also obliged to know all the answers. He pointed out to be with the supervisor. The supervisor is probably the higher instance than him, and he told me, maybe you are right, maybe you can drive. But what I want to say, it is not the questions about the law itself. And the law they want to implement on the 15th of March to discipline about something. They have the goal only to cancel the institutions that comes from Serbia, that are connected with Serbia. And I want to say that the Kosovo government or the Kosovo power they don't want to hear the voices of the citizens that are not Albanians. Now there is a problem that my colleague Radulovic already said, that it is not connected with the Ahtisaari plan. And I already said that the 2013 and the 2018, you are participating in Kosovo government or together with Srpska Lista, but you have done nothing to make the life easier for the people who wants to stay here. Only you are working with the popularity and the personal interests. So this organization was doing in that way, and the Srpska Lista, I know that there is a solution. I'm positive about it. We have to all be included in cohesion, but we have to force those people who are making the foundation of the country of Kosovo, and we have to accept the things as it is, because this abnormal situations being normal, it's abnormal. So we are trying for 20 years to present this as a normal thing, but they don't want to accept this. So if you want to implement the lex specialis, or the government of Kosovo, the Pristina power wants to exclude the part of the citizens that are constitutional. So you have the documents. We are not talking about the whole people in whole, but these people are directly connected with Central Serbia. And as already Gordana mentioned, that we are going to have problems connected with the healthcare, education, and everything. But oh, yes, of course, what will be the solution? Gordana suggested one of the solutions to this is to extend the period and to empower this campaign, informational campaign. So what you want to tell to Kosovo government from all three of you, I already said that if they want to work to push us out from Kosovo and Metohija, we are going to come in a problem that simply we cannot live here. So, Mr. Ristic, we have the Srpska lista, well, in some sort of way agreed when they asked for the extension of the deadline. So the people, it will be easier for the people to be integrated, to get the documents and to get the solution. That silence led us to this situation. So they have the declaration, but declarations 3 days before the grades that we talked about. So the law, we had a chance 2013 up to today through UN, but what we can do now, the persons who are currently in Kosovo government, now they have to ask every day up to the 15th of March to ask lex specialis. So the Serbia community will not going to be treated as foreigners. They're treating already. No, from the Assembly of Serbia. I already said 2 years ago that Serbia do not have legitimacy here. I was pushed out from my MP club, from my political party, because when I was pointing out for the attacks, assaults on kids, students, I asked that to be discussed in Assembly of Serbia. They said, no, Kosovo is not important, the lithium is important now. And what my colleague suggested to talk about, to discuss about, this is only to push us out from the essence of the problem, and it will not going to bring anything good. So the majority from SNS in Serbia, they have more than 150 MPs. We do not need a procedure, a special procedure over there in the Assembly. If they want to discuss about it and come to the solution, that will be already done. So they talk about that they are really influenced in some other countries. That I think that if they only make one call, they can solve this problem. But I think that the essence is different, because that this is already agreed, and that silence will going to show us what they have already done with the number plates, with the vehicle plate numbers, with the Gazivode Lake, and the winning of the 5-0, and about the future solutions of the problems. But there is only one thing in questions for one and the other side. It's to cancel 2 last identities of the Serbia in Kosovo. This is education and healthcare. I think from that Kosovo Assembly procedure, that is futile. Why the Serbia is silent about Kosovo? Not about this, but in general. I already said, I'm going to repeat myself. In essence, we do not know what was signed, which agreements in Ohrid and French-German plan. In essence, we do not have concrete solutions. Even if we have done nothing about it. Okay, thank you. I want to point out one more thing. If we wanted to be integrated, to do right thing for the people, we could solve the problem of the dinar also. For example, as UN already said, you can pay in Serbia. You can use the Russian ruble to pay for the bills. Where you can pay with the Russian ruble? Yes, you can use Russian ruble to use in Serbia. No, no, no. You cannot pay in the shop, but you can go to the exchange office and to change that currency. But you can use dinars. Can you change dinars? Yes, you can pay with dinars with a bank card. Yeah, please, please. Yes, depends. That is the policy of the bank, which currency they're going to use. We couldn't be registered as the Central Bank of Kosovo to use the dinars. Yeah, everything was passable back then. But please, don't tell me that I can go with the dinars in any bank in Kosovo and to change that currency. If I go in Serbia with the Russian ruble, or here in Russian ruble, I cannot change it. This is the bank policy. This is the policy of the central bank. No, this is the politics that they want to devastate us not to exist here. Now we are talking about the other subject and ask for the potential solutions. Mr. Simic, please, what concretely can Kosovo government do to mitigate these problems? But we already said the cancelling of institutions, vehicle plate numbers, and all the others. Before I give the answer on that questions, I'm going to see some suggestions how to use this period of time for the citizens to get know better about this. This will be an informational campaign in the Serbian areas. The Kosovo institutions are defending themselves that this campaign already exists, but we are witnesses that that is not enough because they announced the phone number that you can call, but the specific information to that call center you cannot receive. The other actions is the information for the citizens who are on the crossing that there was I think there's something like a leaflet over there that they are talking about the law of the usage of the vehicle. This information are not enough, and a certain informational campaign can give a positive results. And I think that anyone who will be dealing with that campaign has to know all the informations that are relevant for the citizens. This informational campaign that will be lacking of the information, we're not supposed to have them. If they are full with information, yes, of course, that we need them. So we need campaigns to point out to the citizens what problems they could be facing. So if we have a clear campaign that all the Serbian community, all the minority in Kosovo who do not have Kosovo documents, so they can know about the problems that could be expected, that can have a positive influence. So let's go back to the law of the usage of the vehicles and the informations that are currently at the crossings. Not all the groups of the citizens will not be under influence. All the citizens who has Kosovo documents and those people who has the documents from the cities in the center of Serbia, how do I see this law and this information? And so they're going to count the days from the day of entry. There is no limitations, 30 days or 90 days, but from the day of entry. So this group of people who has both Kosovo documents and Serbian documents, they can, of course, drive the vehicle. The problem is with the people or the owners of the vehicles who has IDs from Serbia that are from the cities in Kosovo that were issued by the Republic of Serbia. That is not clearly defined, and simply interpretation of the common police officer at the border crossing. I asked him, and he will interpret this from their from upon the information that he's going to receive from their own supervisors. This process is totally untransparent. So this is not clear. There's unclarity. We have called this constructional ambiguity from the first and the second agreement and through the implementation and the Berlin process has led us into situations that we cannot govern the informations. We do not have this kind of information. So how can we evaluate? Do we have about our movements forwards? Do we have the campaign from the international community so that we can measure the results? We cannot measure the results because we do not know how the international community influenced the Pristina. So when I said this shuttle diplomacy that happened this week, we do not have possibility to measure the results. Do we have certain movements or not? Yes. One more thing which is really important here. The law about the foreigners has the influence on all the persons that are trying. I can put it this way. All of these years, they have showed the will and they submitted applications a couple of times for the Kosovo documents, but they were not successful in that. We have number of cases in our organizations. We have two examples that the people 13 or 14 years that the spouse of one only Serb who works here, that she's from Republika Srpska, and for many years, for more than a decade, she cannot receive the Kosovo documents. What will happen with these people? They have showed interest, showed the will. They went to the centers for this documentation, but after a couple of tries, they were not successful to get the documents for the civil status. Mr. Radulovic, last night we have the announcement from the Eparchia Raško-Prizrenska about this movement of the people, that we have to find the solutions with the Serbian community here. Mr. Radulovic, what will be the most urgent reform or the correctional measures that you will suggest or recommend to Pristina to protect the citizens and not to come to let's say work or the institution itself, like healthcare or education, or that we all heard here. So let me tell to my colleagues that she said that we were participating with the Srpska Lista in the government all of these years. No, that is not true. We had a period in 2019 when the MPs from the Srpska Lista who were participating in Kosovo Assembly for 1 year or two, and after that they resigned, and we had one MP after that. We could not hold him for 48 hours in the assembly because the way that they are doing in Belgrade, over the night he changed the side, and in that way we had no representatives in the parliament. So now we're going to wait what we're going to do to make life easier to the people in the way that we could. Not only with this problem, but with all the problems that they have, because I want to say that 2019 on the elections, we had 1,620 votes. I cannot recall exactly, but in the last elections we had 5,000. That shows us that we led the good politics for the people in Kosovo. And the numbers are the results of the past elections, and I hope in future we have more support from the citizens. I want to tell you that we are here, we are together with people, and we're going to try to help people in any possible way. Any questions? Is there any questions? Yes, Željko, please. I think we have to work on the solutions and not about the numbers of the votes from the elections. I'm going to tell you one thing. The campaign for the election campaign and the election of the Srpska lista have the crime, two serious crimes. I cannot tell you about the articles from the law, but the essence. What crime? What crime? What crime? The crime is a crime. I don't know the articles from the law, but I already said. But I want to say the following thing. If we have the minister from the Serbian community, a man who is a Serb, born here, as I know, and he's doing nothing for the Serbs and Serbian community, I think this is absurd and precedent for all of them. But this is generalization. This is he's not doing anything. What he is doing? You already said, yeah, you that comes from Serbia, and we are waiting. I think that you are working on the directives, not to come to the changes. I would like you to explain what are you waiting for. I would like to hear the answer of that. Or we have people from the other party here. I already gave an answer in my introductions. We are waiting the answer for the European office, for the informations, of course, that we are going to take all the necessary steps to solve that questions. I don't know in what way, but we are here. But you said that he's doing nothing for the Serbian community. This is, of course. But what do you think about the announcement for the Eparhija Raško-Prizrenska? That they're supposed to talk with Serbs here. So Srpska lista said that all the questions has to be on the level in Brussels. So who is more in right? Church, or what will give us more results? The talk here with the Serbs or talk with Belgrade in Brussels? Connected with these questions, I think they already understood. Who is they? Church. I don't know who I'm thinking of. Is it the church? Belgrade, Srpska lista? I think the church already understood that the Belgrade is not going to help. They let us on their own. And I think that the majority of the people already understood that. We have to finish it. Mr. Ristic, in short, please. Connected with this church, I already said that Eparhija Raško-Prizrenska called to talk with the Serbs here. They talk about it for 20 years already, that you have to talk with the people who lives here and not with somebody that was mentioned by my colleagues. I think that we have to include the people who lives here, not to wait for them to be included in the process. Until we solve this, unfortunately, as they say, they let us on their own to go with the flow or with the current. We did not clarify all the questions because we do not have people that comes from the institution that they can give us the answers on some questions. Anyone wants to add something? Boban, you? Yes, maybe a sentence or two. The question is which direction we have to go, not to face these problems as citizens. And I think that it is obvious that the political will that exists in Pristina and Belgrade would not come to the certain level that can generate the results of the agreement or whatever to come to the one individual will not going to suffer. So institutional questions from Pristina Elberg cannot be passed upon the individual who will suffer the consequences of that political misunderstanding, if I can say that. So what is the way, how can we, what is the way out of this? So I think that the law, when we start the implementation of the law on the 15th, so what we can say as a representative of the NGOs and the other organizations of the civil society is to appeal to, especially on your international community, to be included urgently in solving these questions. What I already said before comes to the full implementation of these laws, to have a space so they can fulfill their own basic human rights. If we have no more questions, maybe Gordana, you want to add something about solving the questions here or Brussels, what Epoch already said? I'm old enough, and unfortunately, I am the witness of many things, many situations. I am from those individuals who thinks that it is mandatory to include the people who live here that are experts for certain things to make the life better for the citizens here. This is not happening for years, and now we have brought to the end, to the final act, that we are only the bystanders and we do not have the opportunities that are given to us to change anything. So we can only appeal or to lobby to international community. So unfortunately, for my 26 years experience after the war, we do not have any effect of that. So will something will be changed in the future? I really do not know, because the interests of the international community, interests of the Belgrade, Kosovo institution are the same when we are come into the question. So they work to reduce our number here, so we cannot live the normal life, and so we have to leave. After this is the end. There will be no more questions.